This is why the great white shark is not the most dangerous shark. The great white shark is the ocean's most legendary and infamous killer, a status that takes some serious earning. Fast, strong, smart, and huge, the great white has all the tools and skills to rule the sea as an apex predator and king of the fishes. Fish, mammals, and even humans are never safe from this nightmarish beast. But did you know that, at least when it comes to human attacks, the great white shark might not be the most dangerous? The following video explores the various reasons for this assertion, and we will look closely at another shark that rivals the great white's threat to people. If you're fascinated by predators like these, don't miss what's coming next. Subscribe now and dive deeper into the oceans. Great white killer. The great white is the world's largest species of actively predatory shark, ahead of bull and tiger sharks. Females are generally larger than males, with a body length range of 15 to 16 feet and a weight range of 1,500 to 2,450 pounds. The smaller males are still huge, with body length ranges of 11 to 13 feet and weights between 1,150 and 1,700 pounds. The biggest great whites on record have been measured at 20 feet long or more and up to 4,200 pounds in weight. Reports of 5,000-pound sharks have not been verified, but they shouldn't be dismissed as nonsense either. After all, no one knows every single shark out there, so no one knows the true extent of their sizes. Great whites are found in most of the world's oceans and operate in both coastal areas and open water, sometimes at depths of 3,900 feet. They prefer a temperature range of 54 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit and are, therefore, a common sight in the Americas, Japan, Australia, and South Africa. The sharks become more tolerant of cooler waters as they age. They are apex predators whose diet includes fish, seals, sea lions, and various whales and dolphins. The sharks attack with a combination of speed, power, and hundreds of razor-sharp teeth. They have incredible senses, and they can even detect the electromagnetic fields emitted by living creatures moving about in the water. When potential prey is detected, the shark uses its huge tail fins to propel itself forward and charge. In short bursts, the great white can hit speeds of 16 miles per hour. Great whites have two main hunting techniques: ramming and exploratory biting. Ramming is often used for fast-moving prey like seals and dolphins, which are often attacked from below. The ramming stuns and confuses the victim, allowing the shark to bite and rip away. Exploratory biting is used to investigate objects, animals, and even people for edibility. When a shark is unsure about whether it can eat something, it gives it a little nibble to see if it likes it. When it comes to biting, the great white is a certified champion chomper. The shark's tremendous jaws can generate equally tremendous bite force. Various studies over the years indicate that a great white shark can exert over 4,000 pounds per square inch of bite pressure. This means bones, shells, and thick layers of blubber cannot withstand such awesome power. As an apex predator, the great white has very little to fear from other sea creatures. Its only animal threat is killer whales and larger great whites. Killer whales are notorious for attacking great whites and harvesting their nutrient-rich livers. Otherwise, their main threat is humans. Places like Australia and Japan have historically done culls to control populations and keep beachgoers safe. Unfortunately, some shark-catching methods like shark nets can lead to the unintended deaths of seals, dolphins, and even birds. Naturally, these shark culls are a lightning rod for conservationist criticism. Not only do dissenters point out the injustice of unintentionally killing some of these other animals, but the culling methods themselves are deemed cruel to sharks. There's also the argument that we don't know the full extent of the great white shark's influence on various marine ecosystems, and are therefore not qualified enough to cull them. The IUCN categorizes the great white shark in the vulnerable tier, which, despite being far from extinction, is a little worrying. Conservation efforts are picking up the pace around the world. In combination with humans, another threat to sharks' conservation is the shark's unbelievably slow rate of reproduction. You see, male great white sharks only reach sexual maturity when they are 26 years old, while females can only start breeding at 33. That makes replacing dead sharks very difficult, and it also increases the risk of certain traits like exceptional size being wiped out from the gene pool at any time. Of course, the focus of today's video isn't necessarily about saving great white sharks, it's about their apparent danger to humans. First off, we need to be clear that the great white shark is, by far and away, the most prolific perpetrator of quote-unquote shark attacks on people. To date, about 359 incidents have been reported, along with about 74 fatalities. Each year, around 10 people get bitten, which isn't an overly significant number, especially when compared with other animals. Crocodiles, in contrast, attack between 300 and 800 people each year, and over 60% of these attacks end in fatalities. Hippopotamuses are just as, if not more, dangerous than crocs, with around 500 people perishing each year after maulings. Lions and tigers kill about 200 to 300 humans each year. Even domestic dogs have way more documented human attacks and fatalities each year than sharks. In the US alone, around 4.5 million people were bitten by dogs in 2024, and 50 people died. Of course, the issue of access is a big factor behind some of these numbers. In India, many rice plantations and farmers are right next door to swamps patrolled by tigers. In Africa, many villages and settlements rely on local rivers or lakes for fishing, laundry, and other essentials, which forces contact with crocs and hippos. Worldwide, domestic dogs are the most common animal companions, so contact and attacks are pretty much inevitable. For most people, getting attacked by a marine shark is usually something you go out of your way for. It can happen during a once-in-a-lifetime vacation to Hawaii or Durban when you decide to go surfing or paddleboarding. However, 99.9999999% of people will never have a close encounter with the great white shark, let alone a dangerous one. Even if you are a frequent beachgoer, you will probably frolic or surf or swim during the daytime when the sharks are least active, which reduces the slim odds of an attack even further. Local authorities in coastal areas where sharks are common often install signs, barriers, or even law enforcement to discourage or outright ban after-dark beach activity to minimize human and shark contact. Basically, the beach can belong to surfers and tourists by day, but it must be given back to the sharks when the sun goes down. So, if shark attacks are so rare, what causes the attacks that are documented? Well, a number of things. The first of these is tied to one of the shark's hunting strategies, exploratory biting. The general theory is that sharks bite people out of curiosity rather than full-on engaged predation. After all, a swimmer or surfer splashes about and emits similar electromagnetic signals given off by the great white's traditional prey, and the sharks naturally come to investigate. By biting this unknown entity, the shark gets a feel of its material makeup, nutritional potential, and general edibility. Sharks will also investigate floating buoys, rafts, and surfboards by biting, which gives more validity to the exploration bite theory. Of course, because of their many sharp teeth and incredible jaw power, even these exploratory bites can do great damage to human beings' fairly delicate bodies. Bleeding almost always occurs, and if the shark nicks a large blood vessel or two, the victim could be in danger of severe blood loss. In fact, most shark attack fatalities are a result of eventual blood loss rather than being ripped apart until dead. Depending on the bite size and bite force, a human can also easily lose fingers, an arm, a leg, or a general chunk of flesh to a shark's bite. That said, in most attacks, the shark relents after this initial exploratory bite, suggesting that they do not have a great preference for human flesh. But why? Aren't they generalist predators? Well, yes, but great white sharks tend to favor a higher bone to muscle and fat ratio in their meals. According to scientists, we are simply too bony for most great whites to bother with. They would rather chomp into fatty seals or muscle-bound dolphins than bother with humans, who generally lack both significant muscle and fat. Shark metabolisms are fairly slow, and their digestive systems are far better suited to digesting muscle and bone than our complex bony skeletons. Another theory behind shark attacks on people is related to visibility. Their nocturnal habits and the murky nature of shallow waters are often identified as potential reasons why great whites may confuse people for seals or other regular prey. Great whites are believed to be colorblind, and their eyes' level of focus is questionable. As a result, Some scientists theorize that they can't really tell a human surfer's silhouette, for example, from a dolphin or swimming seal. So, if the great white shark isn't the biggest danger to humans, what is? Well, this is an ongoing debate, but in recent times, many folks have argued that the bull shark, Carcharodonus lucus, is a bigger threat to humans. Sure, it's a fraction of the size and didn't star in the Jaws movies, but it is still a very formidable apex predator. Bull sharks are more dangerous to humans for one main reason: proximity. Their smaller sizes allow them to get much closer to shore. An adult bull shark can comfortably swim in water that is waist-high for people. Additionally, the bull shark is euryhaline, which means it can live in both saltwater and freshwater. They often migrate into deltas and river mouths and add their menace to that of hippos, crocodiles, or alligators. A bull shark can be nearly invisible in murky water because of its gray camouflage, and this can allow it to get very close to a person in the water. Another thing that makes bull sharks dangerous is their inherent aggression. What the shark lacks in size compared to great whites, it makes up for in heart. These sharks are very intolerant of other creatures in general, and they don't exclude humans, regardless of how bony we are. Best believe that when a bull shark attacks you, it wants you dead and will probably eat you. Unless you escape or fight back, a bull shark will not cease its attack. Lastly, there is the fact that bull sharks are far more opportunistic and less picky than great whites. This means that a human within reach is considered a potential meal.